Russo's Playbook.
All right, what's up, everybody? We're back with another episode of Russo's Playbook, episode 21. You can find us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Read up on our blogs at russosplaybook.com. Twitter and social media at Russo's Playbook, at LittleBlack22. How you doing today, Hunter?
Good, man. Good. Ready to talk about some sports?
Yes, sir. We got plenty to talk about. But as always, we start off with a favorite Stop That. So I'll kick it off with the 76ers. I mean, we all know they're struggling to find trade partners for Ben Simmons. We know they want a lot back, even though he shouldn't get a lot back. But the recent deal I heard around the draft night was the 76ers offering the Warriors Ben Simmons for like 3 players and 4 first-round draft picks.
Yeah.
I mean, 76ers, stop that.
Unbelievable.
What are you doing? He's not worth that, number one. Number two, he literally took down the team last year in the playoffs. I mean, literally, because he couldn't shoot and was too scared to shoot, they didn't win. That's one of the main reasons. He has no trade value of 4 first-round picks and a couple of players.
Yeah, I mean, it's as simple as, scared money don't make no money, man. And he was scared money in the playoffs. And the players that they were asking for, like, they wanted Wiseman, who's also a first-round pick for them last year. So, like, they were asking for, like, a lot of, like, young future bright stars and stuff like that. They wanted the 2 first-rounders from this year, and I think 2 for next year as well from it. And let's just be real here. Ben Simmons, like, his numbers are down. Everything's down for him. They had the opportunity to trade him for James Harden last year, and people clowned it. Like, the 76ers were like, "You're out of your goddamn mind if you think if we're gonna give you Ben Simmons for James Harden." They also wanted a couple other, like, key players, like, from the 76ers, but like, you're not getting anyone of that caliber anymore. You're not getting, if anything, you shouldn't even try and trade Ben Simmons. You might as well just try and keep him and get his confidence back to where it used to be, because he's a great defensive player, not that great at scoring, but I mean, it's just, you're asking for everything.
That's if his teammates want to still play with him.
I know. God, dude. Joel Embiid, bro. He's probably so sick and tired of all this. Yeah. I mean,
sure
it's not
happy.
Yeah, it's not going to get any easier for them. Ben Simmons just needs to sit for like 72 hours on a basketball court from a free throw line and just continue to shoot until he's perfect again. But they're asking way too much. They're asking way too much, and they're not going to get anything special for him, I don't think. And honestly, I didn't think he fit in, like, the Warriors scheme that well, especially with, like, Klay Thompson's coming back. They already have Steph. They're fine with who they have. I think throwing in Ben Simmons would have actually been worse for them, even if, like, they could have figured out something that wasn't as ridiculous as that trade was. Like, I don't see him fitting with the Warriors that well, considering the Warriors are a bunch of shooters and he is not. So I don't know. It's just overall, that was a horrible thing by the 76ers. So big stop that on that.
For sure. What you got?
For mine, I know I already talked about him last week, but I'm not done with you, McGregor. I'm still sick and tired of you.
Bring him back.
Bring him back. Bring him back. But I'm sorry if I sound like a broken record or whatever, but I give it to the man. Very genius when it comes to marketing. But the newest thing on the block, I don't think it's even going to happen, is that he will be in a wheelchair boxing competition in the next upcoming months. And
oh my goodness,
I don't understand. I don't get it. Like, like, all I have to say to that is stop that. Please, for the love of God. He's just doing things. He's just pulling things out of his ass at this point to try and, like, keep his name around, keep his name relevant. He had a tweet the other day that was like, don't forget about me. Don't give up on me. Like, I'll be back before you guys know it, and I'll be all good and everything. And it's just like, dude, like, what? You're going out real sad right now. It's like getting worse and worse progressively. And the whole wheelchair boxing thing, like, I don't even know if you get paid for that or if that's like a charity event. I think it actually was a charity event, but like, if you win that, then what?
And not only that, I mean, Doesn't he just have like a broken foot?
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah,
not like he had to get it like amputated or nothing. Like the man just
yeah.
said he'll be out and walking in a month or two. Like I'm confused.
Exactly.
Like is he just
And are
gonna go
you gonna
sit
hop
back in a
back in the wheel?
wheelchair?
Exactly,
Yeah.
bro. That's what I'm saying.
Like I don't
That's
get
what
what
I'm
this man is
saying.
doing.
I don't
I
either,
don't know.
man. He like makes me every single week. It's something new with this guy, and he's just got me scratching my head. It's like just get healthy, get back in the octagon, and start fighting again, and leave all of this nonsense out, dude. Like everyone's.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe everyone isn't tired of it. Maybe people like this or something. They're like
Maybe
eating.
maybe it's just us that doesn't like it. I don't know about
Yeah,
that one.
I'm starting
I
to
don't know
believe
about
it,
that one.
man. I don't know. People are weird. People are weird nowadays, Nick. I don't know what to trust. I don't know what to think about it anymore. But all I know is I just think that's like the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. I hope he
Yeah.
figures
Nah,
out
it
the.
was so random. Yeah. But let's move on to some sure things, which is the NBA free agency, some
Yeah,
contracts being signed. But we kicked it off with a trade, I think, right before free agency kicked off, which was the Lakers trading for Westbrook,
yeah.
Russell Westbrook. And that's some interesting news right there. The a little on the older side for that team with all their moves, but I still think they can get it done. I think that's a great tandem. And there was actually a story that came out after the trade that that was in 2019. Westbrook hit up Kawhi Leonard and wanted to team up in LA. And this was when Westbrook and Paul George was in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
So Kawhi Leonard got off the phone with Westbrook, called Paul George, said, "Yo, this is what your boy's saying. How about me and you team up in LA?" And now that's who Kawhi Leonard and Paul George sitting in LA with. Russell Westbrook finally getting there, so that'll be a great rivalry. But what
Mm.
I'm looking at and big picture of it is in the NBA Finals. If it's Nets versus Lakers, I mean, you got KD versus Russell Westbrook. You got Kyrie versus LeBron. James Harden sitting there. I guess he got some beef with Russell Westbrook as well.
I was gonna say you could definitely throw him in the mix because of the OKC nonsense that happened.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That'll be a great finals if we could see it next year. To be honest.
Honestly, I think everyone's hating on them because of the age and like this and that because they got Melo too. Melo's 37,
Yeah,
LeBron's
Melo. Yep.
36. You go down the line, it is an older team, like whatever. But the one thing is that team just got like so defensively strong between LeBron, AD, and Russ that I don't hate it at all. I actually think it might mesh and work out well. Like they all are kind of ball hogs, don't get me wrong, or at least LeBron and Russell Westbrook can be. So I think they have to figure out the way to play off of who's hot. Like, they have to
Yeah.
be able to kind of drop the whole like I want to shoot the ball this many times and be able to be like, all right, LeBron's having a day, like feed LeBron. Like Russell's having a day, feed Russ. Like, but regardless, I think that's a huge it's just a huge advantage for them. I think I'm a big believer on defense wins championships, man. And to see those three out on the court together, like not a lot of teams are going to be able to line up with them and you know
Yeah.
do their thing. It's going to be, I think, hopefully, what I expect is that the Lakers will be able to lock down a lot of these teams in the NBA. I think Melo's just kind of like a cherry on top. Like I don't expect much from him. I don't think anyone does, but he's just if he can somehow get to the NBA finals with LeBron and win a ring, like that's a pretty cool like story in itself as well, considering they've
Yeah.
been with each other since high school, playing against each other since high school. I think this is the first time ever that they're on the same team together in the NBA. So
Yeah.
it's just one
And
of those
they
things where
they had a
go ahead.
chance to. They had a chance to a couple of years ago. And I think LeBron realized that Melo has to understand where his game's at right now. And his
Yeah.
game now is catch and shoot, hit the corner, catch and shoot, rather than being that ball dominant, drive up the court and everything. So I mean, he learned what he needs to do in Portland, and now LeBron's like, all right, come be a shooter on my team because that's what he needs. He needs
And
that
it
Ray
wasn't
Allen, that.
exactly someone who's just going to be able to like they don't need to score 30 points. They just need like maybe 10 or 15 from them, even coming off like the bench, like
Coming
sort
off
of
the
thing.
bench,
Like
yeah.
he's not he's gonna be like somewhat of a role player. He's not gonna be like that big of a deal. I don't think they're gonna like force him to be one, but
No,
um
yeah, he'll definitely just be off the bench shooter, I feel like.
I feel like there's got to be some confidence that comes with him too. And now that he's playing with LeBron, like now that he's on a
Yeah,
team that's actually like as good as it is, who knows? Maybe he steps up and he actually really does make a difference. But expectations are low. No one's expecting a lot from him, so I think that's going to help benefit him as well. And I don't know if a lot of people are expecting anything big from. How do I say it? Not like everyone's going to expect something big from the Lakers. I take that back. That was going to sound really dumb out loud. But them with this, like how old their team is, like I think everyone
hmm
going into this year is going to be like, okay, well, they could be like injury prone. Like we saw what happened to AD last year. We saw what happened on LeBron last year too. Like
yeah,
age is catching up with them. Um, but it's still at the end of the day, that's a dominant force. That's a great team.
yeah,
There's also
yeah.
been
And
a
I'm
there's also been so many other trades that happened in the NBA. Like it was a crazy 2 days of just reading Woj's Twitter, like going up and down, up and
yeah,
down, up and down. So
yeah. Well, we had Chris Paul go back to the Suns.
yeah,
That I don't know, man. You think they could come back for another time?
I don't think this will be the year that they do it. Like I
No.
think if there was a chance for them to do it, it was them playing in the NBA Finals this year. They blew it. It is what it is. You can't go back in time. But the one thing that I do think is that team really loves having Chris Paul around. They love having him as like
Yeah.
this older guy on the team who even DeAndre, and we spoke about it a couple times. He was like, he's made me not only a better player but a better man, and like that speaks volumes for someone in the NBA, especially for someone like Chris Paul. So he's on a 4-year deal. Do I think it'll get done this year? No, but it's a young team, man. Like who's to say in the next 2 or 3 years, D Book, DeAndre, and like they maybe get a couple other like players, better role players even who can come in. I know
Yeah.
they re-signed Campaign for like 3 years. I think like $19 million, which was a little bit much for me in my
A
opinion. But
lot of people were getting bread. What was it?
yeah,
Kelly Olynyk got like 3 years, 33 million. I was like, what the hell?
it's just like how, but like whatever, bro. Like God bless your agent. But yeah, man. I mean, I don't. I think the Suns have potential to make it to the playoffs again, but it's going to be a lot to be able to go back to the NBA Finals next year. Um,
Yeah.
I think they had a really good opportunity this year just because of all the teams that got hurt and injured, and that's not something to bet consistently on. Where it's just like, well, the Lakers, they're older. Like I was saying, they're older, they're injury prone. Like maybe they don't make it back. Like okay, well maybe they stay healthy and they actually dominate the entire West, and it's not even
Yeah.
close. The Warriors are
Facts.
going to be coming back with Klay Thompson. Like there's
Yep.
a lot of like players who are coming back here now, and players who I think are still trying to find like something like somewhat of like a home. Like, who knows if Dame Lillard's going to stay in Portland? Who says he doesn't go
Yeah.
down to Dallas and play with Luca, or figure out a way to join up with another team like everyone else is freaking doing?
Maybe like getting traded to the Knicks, who
Yeah,
just signed Evan Fournier and Kemba
and
Walker.
I like
That
that.
I like that a lot. I like that a lot, to be honest. They're scorers. They're a little, or at least Kemba is a little older in age, a little more injury prone. But if you could limit his minutes with also re-signing D Rose, I think having them 1 and 2, with obviously Rose off the bench, that would be a great duo. They could split minutes, stay healthy, hopefully. I think the Knicks are making some good moves here.
I agree. I agree 100%. And again, another young team where they had made it to the playoffs this year for the first time in a lot of years.
Yeah,
So, just to see them being able to kind of add something on, hopefully they can build around that young team again with some older talent as well, like Kemba coming in, like you said, like Kemba kind of be like a Chris Paul for him, even though
yeah,
I don't think he's half as vocal or as good as Chris Paul, but he's a veteran player. He's been in the league for a
yeah.
while. He's played on some really good teams, and I think that helps out the Knicks in the long run. But yeah, it's just another team, exactly like I just said, like just like the Suns, who they can make a real nice run. Do I think they're the best in their conference? No, but they're willing to, you know, they're willing to play with each other, learn from each other, and get better every day. And I think that's going to
And
help a lot more.
and and play great defense.
That's what I'm saying. Another great
Yeah,
team that plays
yeah,
defense. That's it, man.
yeah. Then we had the Heat re-sign Butler and then make a trade for Kyle Lowry. So that's another big three they're putting together down there. They should be great competition.
Yeah.
We had Lonzo Ball sign and trade to the Bulls, and then DeMar DeRozan also joins the Bulls. So that'll be an interesting trio in
Hey,
Chicago.
and Alex Caruso, my boy.
Oh yeah, that guy. Yeah.
Which was kind of
Listen,
sad to see him leave LA, but you know,
if LeBron didn't want him back, we all know what that means. He's gonna be washed. He's gonna be
yeah,
washed this year.
yeah, unfortunately.
Then some other ones we had, some quick ones. We had Blake Griffin back with the Nets. Dwight Howard's gonna return to the Lakers. Said D Rose with the Knicks again. Hawks re-signed Trey Young to a massive deal. And then that was really all of the main news. You know, I think we're still waiting on Kawhi. He declined his player option, and he's still waiting to re-sign with the Clippers.
Yeah, I think he
Probably on
just
some
wants more
massive
money.
deal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. He
yeah,
just wants more money. I don't blame him. He's basically the heart and soul of that team, and
yeah.
he's competitive, man. He's just looking to win a championship, and he wants to do Paul George in LA with the Clippers. I thought their best chance was this year as well. I took them to win the entire thing early on in the playoffs. But he's just got to stay healthy.
Dude, if the Knicks could have made some move to sign Kawhi, trade for Dame, I don't know. I don't know. It could have been crazy.
It's asking a lot though. They would have had to give up so much. They were
They
like,
do, but the thing is, the Knicks are seriously just waiting for a superstar to be disgruntled and want to leave. I mean, I think they have 6 first-round picks in the next 4 years.
yeah,
Like they're definitely stacked, definitely ready to move on
they have a
something.
lot to give. They have a lot to give up, but also it's just like you just built up that team. Like, what if all
Yeah.
these teams start asking for players and stuff, and you're just like, well, we actually like this guy a lot, even
Well,
though he might not be
well, that's the
performing
thing.
insane.
Are
But
you willing to give up probably either RJ Barrett or Julius Randle, and then possibly Obi Toppin, Emmanuel quickly? Like
I
you're
would, oof. Some of
I
like,
know you're
I don't
you're
know.
gonna
I don't
have
know.
to.
And
You
out
can't
of
just
those
be like,
names,
here's 4
who do
first
you
round
get rid of?
picks.
Yeah, yeah, that's
I
very true.
In my opinion, if someone's willing to take them, I'd give up Randall in a heartbeat for a superstar.
I
For
was gonna say
Dame,
that's the one you keep. That's the
yeah,
one who I would try my hardest to keep, just defensive wise. I'd give up RJ Barrett in a
that's fair.
heartbeat. You could have RJ Barrett for a
See,
six
and
bag of chips.
see, that's rough for me because I feel like RJ Barrett he's only like 22, 23. I mean, I feel
Yeah.
like he has so much more to grow into. So he could become that third superstar while you get a guy like Dame and have Kemba, or Dame and then sign Kawhi. Like, I don't know. I think that could have. It's just crazy scenario. Obviously, not happening at the moment, but
Yeah. Still nice to talk
but
about. Still nice to talk
yeah,
about.
no, definitely. But we'll move into some facts that are happening, and that's Carson Wentz being out 5 to 12 weeks. Also, some facts. Nick Foles possibly rumored the trade option to help them out. I
Ooh,
mean,
I love
you're
it.
getting
I hope
no,
so.
no.
I
You
hope
are
so.
crushing Carson Wentz, dude.
Yeah, of
Crushing
course.
him.
Of course. He's probably sitting, dude, he's probably like fighting tears for the past like week of his life. Like, I know that he will say, like, until he's blue in the face, he's like, yeah, I just care about my team. I want the best for my team. But if they bring in Nick Foles to be his replacement, this man is literally going to just be like, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. Because
Yeah.
I have a feeling that Nick Foles comes back. Because what does Nick Foles have to lose? This guy is the third string quarterback for the Chicago Bears right now.
You know,
Still going to keep bread.
he has nothing to lose when he's in the media day talking about, listen, Frank Reich's my favorite coach of all time. I would love to go play for him. I'm better than I was when I won the Super Bowl. All quotes he said at the media day. And then at the end finished, but I am in Chicago. I'm Chicago Bear.
Yeah.
Come on, bro. You're
I
clearly stating.
Dude, I don't think okay, so I don't think that Nick Foles would be like a superstar, but I think with that offensive line, the weapons that they have, he could get the job done. I think a lot of quarterbacks could, not just Nick Foles, but is Frank going to go after someone who he has no idea anything about him, or is he going to go with the guy who won him a freaking Super Bowl? Like,
Exactly.
I,
Exactly.
you're not going to have to sign him for that much money. I know he actually. What was his contract? It was like
He's
5
owed.
years,
He's
five
owed
years,
like
90 million.
Ooh,
from the
with the
Jags.
Bears?
That was
From
from
the
the Jags.
oh yeah,
And
yeah.
then
I
he got
forgot about
from the
that.
Jags went to the Bears. So I
No,
don't know what's
I know his cap hit is 4 million this year. I think it was 8 next year.
hmm.
So it's not too bad this year, I would say, for a team that, like has cap space. If you're the Saints, obviously you're under, so
Yeah,
there's no
yeah,
way.
they're
But like,
screwed.
yeah.
The Colts could
So I
pull that
mean,
off, man.
they could, but I mean, I feel so bad for Carson Wentz, bro. Like, what do you do?
Don't get
Because
hurt.
what?
Don't get
Okay,
hurt.
but you just traded for this man. So you're
Yeah.
telling me so Carson Wentz isn't gonna be ready till week 3. Nick Foles gets traded and comes in. He balls out for 3 weeks. You're taking him out to put with Carson Wentz back in? No, but like you should because Carson Wentz is supposedly your guy.
Oh, that is so true. Oh
What if
my
it's
God.
the reverse though? What if it's the reverse? So Foles starts the season, gets injured, Wentz comes in, leads him to a Super Bowl.
That would be
See
really
now,
cool. That'd be an awesome
I don't
story.
I don't know if
I
Wentz would sit there and wait though.
don't think
I don't
Wentz
think
has
he
that in
would.
him. I don't think
I
he has
think
it in
I
him.
I think he'd have a lot of beef with everybody. I think he'd have a lot of beef.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. I mean, he's probably sitting there like, dude, there's so many other quarterbacks you can get if you get fucking Nick Foles. I'm gonna lose
Dude,
my mind.
I wouldn't be surprised if he went in that went into the coach's office and like, listen, hey, are you making this trade? Because if so, trade me as well. Because it's just some nonsense. Like
I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here if
yeah,
I have to look at
please.
Nick Foles every day of my life again.
Yeah. We both because Frank Wright was the offense coordinator when the
Yeah.
Eagles had this happen a few years ago. So I mean, it's crazy,
And
definitely
the
crazy
thing
to
is,
think
he
about.
loves both of them, bro. Frank and Carson used to go to church together every Sunday. Freaking Nick
Yeah.
Foles is the guy who won him his first ever Super Bowl. Like you go down the line, like it's like
And let's not forget Wentz had a great season. Probably was going to be an
the
MVP
MVP.
if he
Yeah,
finished it out.
yeah, dude. It's like asking someone like, who's your favorite son? Like, how you gonna say it, man? You're not gonna
Yeah.
say it, but like, I think there's a little love tucked away for Nick Foles. And
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, the thing with Nick Foles is I just think it doesn't matter to him at this point. He's done everything he's needed to do in this league. He set the touchdown record for the Eagles for quarterback, most touchdowns in a game. He won them a Super Bowl. He's played on all of these different teams. He just got paid $90 million over 5 years, and he's the third string quarterback. He doesn't
Yeah.
care. Like, it's like, yo, okay, if you guys want me, if you want me to play for you, I'll play for you. Like, yeah, that's fine. Oh, and I get to play for Frank. Perfect. I love that.
Well, now here's another thing that just kind of popped in my mind. He's never been good anywhere outside of Philadelphia. I
no,
mean, when he was with the Rams,
nope.
Jaguars, Bears, it doesn't matter. He's never been good. So who's to say he's going to be good in Indianapolis? I mean, if he's only played whether he had OC, no matter who his OC and head coach were in Philadelphia, he balled out. When he
Yeah,
had Chip Kelly, Chip Kelly had him balling out. So I
yeah.
mean, he truthfully was great in Philadelphia. I've never seen him great anywhere else. That's also a major factor I would take into it.
He mentions that in his book that he wrote. I read it a couple years ago. I think it's
Nick
called like
Foles?
yeah, the thing it's called like Believe It or like Believe That or something like that.
Oh yeah,
But he just
okay, yeah,
mentions how much love he has for like Philadelphia and the people of Philadelphia and how like playing there was like the coolest experience of his life and that he wouldn't like he just loved Philly. He never like loved the
yeah.
city like he loved Philly and how much he loved playing for him. But he's getting older now. I think he's like 35 or 34 somewhere around there. So I think if he has a couple good years left, it's right here, right now. And I'm not expecting great years. I'm not expecting a Super Bowl run, but I'm expecting something like, if he throws a couple picks, he throws a couple picks. But like he's going to be able to have some touchdowns. He knows how to lead an offense. Like he's not a bad choice here for Indianapolis at all. And you're right. It's probably going to rip the heart out of
Football
Carson
wise,
Wentz.
yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna
Football
rip
wise,
the
it's not
heart out
gonna
of
happen.
Carson Wentz, but like, guess what? Like, you got to do what's best for the team, and you could go out and try and get other quarterbacks. Who knows? Maybe you go out and try and land Deshaun. Like, you'd really try and figure something out. But like, you trade Carson Wentz, someone else, a couple other players for Deshaun, money, this, that. Like, figure it out. Whatever you got to do. But
Yeah,
at the end of the day, if they're looking for a cheap option that is gonna work, it's gonna be him.
yeah. No, it's all fair points. All fair points. I just, like I said to start, I feel terrible for Carson Wentz fans. But let's move on to our last topic of the day. So we got some college football news. First off, we got Clemson and Florida State reached out to the SEC about joining the conference. Rumor has it. So, I mean, that's crazy in itself. I mean, you're just adding great teams to the SEC. At what point do you say, "All right, chill"?
Yeah.
Like the only team outside of the SEC, the only maybe a couple. You got Ohio State, Wisconsin, maybe Penn State. Outside of the SEC, that would actually compete to get into the top 10, 5.
Yeah. Maybe Oregon. Maybe
Yeah,
USC. Those are like top. They've barely been hitting like top 25 in like the
yeah,
past
exactly.
couple years. So like they would really have to make a strong comeback. My whole thing though is I don't understand how you like if you super load a conference like this and it's all of these good teams, like how do you make that schedule? How do you choose who
Yeah,
plays against each other and who doesn't? Like, does it become an SEC like an SEC South and an SEC East where like a bunch of like Florida, like the Clemsons would all be in like one subdivision and then the other guys are in a subdivision, but like do they ever see each other? Do they ever play each other? Or do they just get the title of being like, yeah, well, we're part of the SEC. So my whole thing with it is if you keep adding teams, sure, like you already have the most competitive conference in college football. Like just no doubt. Um, but like how do you manage to figure out who plays each other? How do you manage to figure out who's even in the top part, like who is the top number one team in that division if you have this guy who lost to one team but the team that they lost to beat this guy, and it's
yeah,
just I feel like it's such a rabbit hole for everyone to even do the rankings on all of this. It's
yeah,
gonna be a headache, I feel like, more than anything.
yeah. It's going to be a headache for sure, especially with the playoff format. I mean, so if they stick with 4 teams right now, you got to think Alabama, Clemson, maybe Georgia, and I'll throw Ohio State in there just because. So that's 3 teams SEC with one, was it Big 12 or whatever?
Big Ten, Big Ten.
Big 10 now,
Yeah.
whatever. So that's one. Then so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is all going to be more of SEC. I feel like,
Yeah,
right? So
100%. Florida.
you're looking at no other real conferences getting into the top 10 even. I mean, that's if Ohio State does it because they just got a high school recruit skipping his senior year to come play quarterback. Obviously, he's not going to start, but I mean, he's just going to be sitting there for 3 years. I'm sure he'll get his time sooner than
Yeah.
later. And you're talking about a 17-year-old joining Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know exactly how it would go. I would redshirt him though. Like first things first, just
Yeah,
redshirt him. Like give him that extra year and then play him his last 4 years or however that quarterback battle even works between who they have now and him. But it's just one of those things where it's literally a head scratcher, man. Because it's just I don't understand how the schedule is going to work out, how any of this is going to work out,
yeah,
especially with like you said, like the college playoffs coming in. It's going to just be the SEC versus maybe a Big Ten team and maybe like Notre Dame if Notre Dame like has another good year or something like that. But regardless, like you just go down the list and it's Texas, Oklahoma, all of these teams who are in there now. It's a dominant force. It's like almost like not even like it's like almost like not even fair for the other teams in the SEC. And it's so insanely competitive now. It's like,
yeah,
are there going to be teams that back out? Like the teams like Mississippi State and Ole Miss, who, maybe they have a couple good years, they'll have a couple good games, they pull some upsets, but like, do they even want to be in this anymore? If you add Clemson as well, and whoever else, and how do they just allow it to be that easy? I feel like
yeah,
back in the day, it was hard for teams to get into places. That's why like teams like Notre Dame decided to stay independent, and different things like that. So it's just I got a lot of questions, man. I don't even know what to ask.
yeah, yeah. No, and definitely, I can't give you answers right now. It's just, and like my biggest thing goes back to like playoffs. So like if you get a team like Texas and Oklahoma, I think we talked about it a little last week, left their conference. So now if somebody from that conference goes 12-0 because they're playing a bunch of bad teams. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody's beating up on them. Nobody's a great team. They're just a bad team playing other bad teams that turned out to be good because they're playing bad teams, right? So if they come into the top 4 because they're 12-0, and you're going to bump out Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Texas, you're going to bump out Florida, you're going to bump out. Like, who are you bumping out to give this lesser team that played lesser competition a chance because they're 12-0? You're not.
100%, yeah.
So they're never going to get their chance. And even when they do get their chance, they played lesser competition. So now when they play somebody like Alabama, it's cakewalk.
Yeah. It wouldn't even be a competition.
Yeah.
I don't know. Not a lot of it makes sense to me right now, but I get what like the SEC is trying to do, but I feel like they're just literally overpowering the SEC. They're like, yeah, keep coming. Like, all these teams, bring them in. And who knows, maybe they turn down Clemson and the other team is asking because they're like, no, I'm sorry, we already added Oklahoma and Texas. But at the same time, I feel like it would make more sense for a team like Clemson to be in the SEC, like then Texas and Oklahoma. Everything was fine with the Big 12 before. Like, that was still a very competitive conference with Kansas, Oklahoma State like had a couple players here and there. So yeah, like you just said, it kind of just ruined a whole division. And if Florida State and Clemson leave too, that just ruins the ACC. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Who's left?
Yeah.
Virginia Tech and North Carolina? Like,
exactly. That it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem for sure. Like you said, more headaches coming up, I feel like.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah. But we'll wrap up that episode here. Russo's Playbook, episode 21. Catch it on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You can read up on our blogs at Russo's